it's me, and today I'm going to be taste testing some homemade macaroons. So let's see how this goes. So a friend of mine had actually recommended that I try out this recipe. So based on her thoughts, I decided to try out the recipe, and this is what happened. So firstly, I got all my dry ingredients, measured them out, and I sifted them all together and I mixed them well. Then separately, I got my egg whites and I added a pinch of salt, and I gradually added my sugar while beating the egg whites, and I beat my egg whites until it resembles sort of like a cloud, a white fluffy cloud. Thereafter, I gradually added my flour mixture and I folded it until a batter is formed. I then piped my batter onto a tray. I had printed out a guide on paper, and thereafter I put baking paper over that, and then I used that as my guide, and then once I was done, I pulled out the stencil or the guide. So after you've piped out your mixture, it's important to take your tray and hit it on the surface of your countertop, and then I allowed it to sit for 30 minutes after piping, and then I popped it in the oven and let it bake, and then I took them out and then I let them cool overnight, and then I did the ganache the next day, which is basically cream. You bring that to a boil. Add your chocolate. The coffee was optional. I chose not to do it because I was looking for something really sweet and I didn't want to add coffee, which would cut some of the sweetness, but you can do you. So I let the ganache cool for 20 minutes in the fridge, and with a hand mixer I mixed it up well, and it sort of changed into icing, which I thought was cool because I never knew you could do that before. Since my piping skills aren't good, so I had to match the sizes of the macaroons because some were a bit big and then some were tiny, but that's just one of those things. And so I piped on my ganache icing and then I stuck them together. And this is the final result. So actually now it's time to taste test the macaroons that took me almost 2 days to do because I made them and I let them cool overnight, and then to make the ganache, and then I just wasn't in the mood to film that day. So this is actually the third day. So it actually took me around 3 days to make it. I hope it's worth it. I trust my friend Sashika. I have faith in you and your taste buds. I think you know your food. So I hope you're right. So let me go get my macaroon that I can try and tell you what I think about it. So I'm back and I have my macaroons in my hand and I'm kind of excited to taste it. As well as I've washed my hands because we want to prevent the spread of coronavirus. So always wash your hands before you eat something. And so now I'm going to taste test my macaroon. Oh my god, this is actually good. I actually really like it. Now that I think about it, I actually don't know what a macaroon is supposed to taste like. But I can tell you that the, should I call this a biscuit? The biscuit part of it is pretty like, it's like firm. I'm surprised that the icing didn't actually soften it up, but it's pretty firm. And it's not over sweet. If I think about the amount of sugar that's in this thing, it's not very sweet. The cocoa helps bring it down, but there's an underlying cocoa taste. Also, if I look at it, the color that mine looks like versus what was in the video are two different things, but I think it could be the cocoa itself, but I actually like it. Okay, let me put this down before I take another bite. Okay, so let's move on to my next macaroon. I know I said I didn't want the coffee flavor, but what I did do was I actually took some coffee granules and I pressed them in my hands and I sprinkled them on the surface of the icing just so that I could get what it would have tasted like if I did add some coffee to it. So let me taste the coffee one. Actually, the coffee one tastes better. Okay, so it was a mistake on my part. I should have added coffee to all, because the coffee enhances the flavor, and it was a mistake. I should have added the coffee to all. Even though it's not too sweet on its own, the coffee adds this sort of creamy texture, and it doesn't bring in a bitterness that I thought it would. So out of 10, I think I give it an 8. It is tasty, but at the same time, I feel to recreate this recipe, it's going to take a lot of effort, as well as the fresh cream does not come by cheap. Although there are recipes that use almond flour and stuff, I think this is a good alternative to that. It tastes really good. I highly recommend you try it if you've always wanted to taste macaroons. I actually really like it. Maybe I should move it up to a 9. But the effort to make it, the piping, I'm having flashbacks to the piping. It's a dough that just sticks to your hands and everywhere, so that's why I reduced the points. But other than that, it's so tasty. I want another bite. So yes, it was extremely tasty. Make sure you add in the coffee. It adds a whole lot of flavor to it. I think I am going to add the coffee now to all of it. I will leave the link to the original recipe in the description box, so you can go and try out this recipe if you want to taste macaroons. But it was honestly really tasty, and I think if I looked at the taste on itself, I would give it a 9 out of 10. So I have to say, Sash, you know your taste. I have faith in you. You are my real friend. I think it was really tasty, and if you want to make macaroons, definitely try it out. And I hope this has made you want to bake as well. And if it did, make sure to share it with a friend. As well as if you want to, you can subscribe, because I don't know which days I'm gonna upload. I just upload whenever I shoot a video. Yeah. So thank you for watching, and from me, V, peace.